Stewart Rhodes, he started Oath Keepers, in the last year or so, and it's really exploded in size. We'll give you the website before he leaves us and some of the testimonials, but the government is clearly out of line. It's violating the Bill of Rights and Constitution. It's run by foreign offshore banks. They've stolen almost $24 trillion the last 10 months. Obama has proven he's a liar on every front. And then magically, they put out DHS reports saying that all these evil American gun owners are about to attack the president. And right on cue, the Southern Poverty Law Center comes out with a report demonizing all these good people, mixing us in with clearly bad folks. And then now ABC News is doing it. And I saw this before Oklahoma City. So before the feds stage terror attacks so that they can be the victims and clamp down on freedom, they do this. This is the preparatory phase. Stewart, do you smell a false flag in the wind?
I think we're heading to the territory where they could use a pretext such as the flu itself to, this appears to be what they're doing, is setting up all the infrastructure and all the planning and all the rhetoric so that all you have to do is click the button, click the switch, and the flu pops up, and the next thing you know that they've imposed martial law. I want to go back to a second when we were talking about a minute ago. You're right about the first line, as I said, should be that the states should have to get permission. But then you look at Article 1, Section 8, it also says that Congress has the power to call forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrection, and repel invasion. It's not just a good idea for the states to be in charge, but the founders had the answer. The answer to the question of who should guard the guardians was that we ourselves, the people, would be the guardians in our state militias.
And then your legislature, that you've elected is in charge. So when you see troops coming down the street, they are from your town, your city. You know their daddy, you know their mama, or you might even be their granddaddy. And the legislature commanding them, the governor commanding them, you voted for them. That is the people ruling.
And you can only have outside militia from somewhere else if that legislature in your state, your governor, invite them in. Okay, and nothing there is contemplating the standing army doing anything inside the United States. It's supposed to be the militia. So, I mean,
that's right. The standing army defends the nation's borders and has a navy to defend, but it doesn't have any action inside. Have you seen the editorial cartoon of the United States? It says Homeland Security with all the cannons swung in, pointing inside the country.
And that's what's happening. Is everything that Bush created is now being turned inward. All that infrastructure. And so we are so far from the original intention of the founders. Forget about the Posse Comitatus Act. That's only a statute. Look at the design of the Constitution itself. We're wildly beyond what they intended. They wanted the militia of the state to be the internal security force. That'd be us. How are we going to interiorize ourselves? You can't. That was their insight.
Now, Stewart, Obama and his controllers, in their slick lies, they demonize the constitutional militia, but then they want a federal or Stalinistic or Mao-like federal Gestapo. They want a clone, but a evil doppelganger. They want a twisted militia that's a federal militia, and they go, well, that's in the Constitution. So they try to have it both ways. They demonize a real militia, but then they have their counterfeit federal militia. Can you explain to people from the Constitution the difference?
Well, sure. As it says in the segment itself, a well-regulated militia is necessary to the security of a free state. The militias are from the states, not from the national government. That's not a militia. When the national government hires someone to do anything, they are now part of a national government. They're not part of the state structure. And so it's entirely opposite, as you said. It's like the evil twin of a militia. It's more like the brown shirts or like the Gestapo or the Stasi.
Exactly. The answer to the Stasi are the brown shirts, and I hope that the Southern Poverty Law Center gets this quote. We are the opposite of the brown shirts or the Mao brigades, the youth brigades. This is the real people's army, not their wicked counterfeit. Go ahead.
That's right. They're trying to create a new version. They're adopting the old forms. This is what happens. They'll adopt the old forms and they'll twist them into something new. This is done throughout history. Every repressive regime always takes the law and turns it into a weapon, and they'll adopt the forms and bastardize them. And Orwell warned us about this many years ago. So it shouldn't be a surprise. But we have to be on guard. And the first line is your state sovereignty. You have to have, in fact, this is what needs to happen. State legislatures need to convene special sessions to discuss and to come to conclusions and pass resolutions about the claimed authority of NORTHCOM and FEMA and DHS to come into their state during a pandemic. That's what's happening.
Stuart, we got a break. Let's come back and talk about that and then get into the First Amendment overall. But yes, we now have the Governors Association sending a letter to the White House and the Pentagon saying, you're going to put troops on the streets? And the Army's answer is, yeah, it was 20,000 last year. Now it's 400,000. Will it be 1 million next year?